I'm David Plank. I'm Executive Director of Policy Analysis for California Education, or PACE, and I'm pleased to invite you, to welcome you to today's conference on the implementation of Common Core in California, what we've learned and what we might look to as we move forward with the implementation process. I want to thank all of you for coming and spending at least at present, a beautiful Friday inside, listening to a bunch of education researchers and policymakers. It's going to be a great day. The goal of today's conference is to take stock of where we are with Common Core implementation. After a full year of sort of full court press on implementation, we have some initial research on how things are going, and certainly we have a lot of experience in the field about what's working and what challenges remain. Our goal today is to review those lessons, to listen to some of the researchers who have looked at Common Core implementation and to test their findings against experiences from the field, both to identify what's gone well, but probably more importantly, to illuminate what challenges lie ahead. We have a terrific set of panels today, and we're looking forward to lots of interaction with you all in the audience, so please prepare your questions. And we're looking forward to working with all of you to realize the promise of Common Core for all California students. Right now, what I'd like to do is to introduce Tom Torlakson, the Superintendent of Public Instruction for California, who will welcome you to the conference. Tom began his career as a teacher and a championship-winning coach before going on to be elected to the Antioch City Council, Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors, the California State Assembly, and Senate. In the legislature, he worked to protect and increase education funding, improve student health, ensure school safety, cut the dropout rate, and develop the largest system of after-school programs in the nation. And as Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tom has worked very closely with Governor Brown and with the President of the State Board of Education, Mike Kirst, to make what I see as really some of the most radical education reforms that have happened in my lifetime. And we're just beginning, I think, to realize the scale of the changes that we have made in California with the adoption of the local control funding formula, the development of the local control accountability plans, and the implementation of Common Core state standards. And as those of you who work in school districts know, all of this is happening at once, and it's a big challenge. But it offers great promise for our students and for our state. And with that, I'd like to welcome Tom Torlakson.
Good morning, everybody. Are you ready? This is important. Welcome. And thank you, Dave, for the kind introduction. And I was told by Rick Simpson that there were a few people here that are high energy at this time of the day, and so I did my run along the river and got my endorphins kicked in. I've had 4 cups of coffee just to try to be ready. And one of those other high energy people, my good friend, our good friend, Jack O'Connell's here, and I just wanted to recognize that very early on, he took leadership. He took a stand. He said, we got to make sure that this is a bottoms-up, not a top-down. While a lot of people are still confused, as recent polling would show, it's not coming from the federal government, it's coming from us. And Jack O'Connell, let's just recognize great superintendent, great leader. So what a journey it's been. One of my very, very top priorities is the implementation of Common Core successfully, addressing the achievement gap, addressing all the workforce readiness, the college readiness goals that we have embedded in the Common Core. And it will continue to be at the very, very top of my priorities. But what a journey it's been. It's more like a marathon than a sprint. My daughter and I went to the U.S. track and field meet here in Sacramento last night. We'll be back again tonight. Last night they had the 100-meter dashers, and they had the 10K, where you have to run something like 30-plus laps. Well, we're more like the marathoners. We have to have patience. We have to work hard, work together, teamwork, and it's a journey. And question is, we'll be answering that question today. How far along that journey are we? It's a journey of many years, and I think it's timely and important. Are we halfway there, a quarter of the way there? Are we 3/4 of the way there? It's not like flicking a light switch on and off. It's going to take time, and I think we have some marketing and educating to do to the public to have them understand that this is a process. It is a journey. So it's timely and important, and thank you, PACE. Thank you all for what you've done before and what you're going to do today and what you're going to do moving forward. Thank you for bringing us here together to examine where we are, what is the promise of Common Core, what's been happening, what's working, what's not working, and what more we need to do. And we know we need a lot more. We need more resources, we need more teamwork, we need more sharing of best practices and implementing strategies. Some legislative milestones along the way so far have helped California have a fairly strong policy consensus. I believe we have avoided much of the controversy going on in other states, the gridlock and detours on Common Core, because we have had a transparent and inclusive process. Those milestones, legislatively, budget-wise, setting up a standards commission to begin with, adopting Common Core 2010. Jack was there. How many of you remember the date? August 2nd. Okay, adoption of Common Core. And again, that was followed by landmark legislation, AB 124 Fuentes, AB 250 in 2011, Senate Bill 1246 in 2012, AB 484. Deb Sigmund's not here today, by the way. She came down ill last night, but she and her team in the Department of Education did a great job. They prepared a report that I issued on what we're going to do. It's the Transition to New Assessments report, which became the springboard for Susan Bonilla's 484. And so we had that in front of us. How are we going to proceed? And I listened. I traveled up and down the state and listened to administrators, listened to teachers. And did any administrator want to spend a dime or another minute on the old CSTs and the old standards that were sunset? No. And so we took a stand. We said, let's not have double testing. Let's do away with this old bubble testing of the CSTs, and let's take the money, because I also heard from superintendents across California and principals and teachers, they would like to have had the experience to have a test firsthand, be part of the field test. It was only going to be 700,000 students in California, the way it was originally proposed by the U.S. Department of Education. We said we want to test all 3 million, and we have. We've come a long way. We found where there are bumps in the road and there are glitches. We expected there would be challenges and maybe some trouble along the way, so we had some of those things we expected happened, and some of the unexpected happened. I'll give you one story. Rescue California. Nancy lives there. They're loading up the assessment test. Screens on the computer start to flicker. The lights start to flicker. Everything shut down. Power off. Rescue California, near the South Fork of the American River. Everything shuts down. Well, what happened? The technology folks are trying to figure this out. Come to find out, a goose flew into the power line into the building, cooked the goose, cooked the juice. So there you go. But we have had success, and we implemented. We had a rapid response center. We learned early on that our call center needed to staff up, and we did it well. And I think that's a milestone of cooperation, management, central office, field, state, local, and we had a great success in moving forward with the Common Core in that regard. These bills and the attendant debates helped us move forward to be more on the same page, set common goals for California, and it helped us greatly, as Dave said, to have Governor Brown, Mike Kirsch, and the State Board, my Department of Education, myself, all working very closely together. We've underscored our commitment to Common Core by major dedication of my staff to implementing it with virtually no funds, no dedicated funds. We scraped it together because it was a priority, it was important. And we did a mutual effort with the State Board to get funding. Mike Kirsch and I approached foundations. We thank many of you here who helped us in the implementing process to get a team of fellows that would be strong, and you'll hear from them later. Barbara Murchison, Nancy Brunell, you'll get to know some of the others who were there on the front line. But it wasn't the state alone or my department alone. Again, it was a team effort. So the county offices, CISESA, county offices put on their workshops. Many districts who had the capacity, the resources, the time, focused, and did their share in putting on local workshops and sharing best practices. And so workshop after workshop, producing module after module, monthly progress reports to the State Board, again, coupled by that effort at the local school level, district level. That training education, teaching, and marketing, I will underscore, is far, far from over. We need much more. We coupled these, I think leading the nation, we coupled these efforts with a united effort to seek funding in the budget. The Education Coalition brought the idea to them. They were ready for it. I had heard across California, we need some money to implement. When the CSTs went into effect, there was state money helping support that implementation. And so we had the block grant, and that $1.25 billion has gone a long way. This budget is not as deep and rich, but it is another $400 million. And I think districts across the state, as they report in how they spent the money and how valuable it was and how effective it was, will build the foundation for a big next year, the next year's budget, an additional ask, because we have a lot more to go. And I've seen such positive results as I've traveled up and down the state and visited classrooms. I've seen a thirst and an eagerness among teachers. I remember going into Fountain Valley, a workshop with third grade teachers, looking at their math in the Common Core, and just seeing how engaged they were and sharing ideas and best practices. It's unleashed a very big surge in creativity and eagerness among our school team, among the teachers and administrators. So when I hear these positive stories, I witness them firsthand, I'm extremely encouraged, I'm inspired. I hope you are, knowing that, again, there's some glitches, things to work out, but that's what we're here for. That's what we're here today for, is to share what we know is working well and things that are needing improvement. So we've reached a real turning point for California schools, I believe. We're on a path to preparing all our students to be career and college ready, to closing the achievement gap, to narrowing the digital divide. We're on a path to a smarter, stronger California. Much more to do, but working together, we'll get there. And with your positive energy and 4 or 5 cups of coffee, we'll get there. Thank you very much.